I've traded the Honda NC 750X. I've traded up. I love the Honda NC, but I used to get a bit frustrated with a little bit of lack of power. It wasn't the most comfortable. I'm starting to carry a pillion a bit more often now, so just decided time for a change. So I've bought this wee beastie, Kawasaki Versys 1000, 4-cylinder, 1043cc, around 120 brake horsepower, so it's not silly, it's sensible brake horsepower. Very, very, very torquey. Big bike, it's very tall, a lot heavier than the Honda, but very light handling when you get going, very light handling. Now I've only had it a couple of weeks, only done about 400 miles on it, already done quite a lot to it. I've changed the exhaust, still not overly noisy, but I just wanted a little bit more noise, so it's a British made Delcovic exhaust, quite cheap and cheerful but really good quality. I've had them before, good exhaust, really good. So new exhaust, the V47 Givi Monarchy top box, and the rack it goes on, it's come separately. I've put the hand guards to keep my poor old handies warm. I've put, well, keep the wind off. I've put heated grips on to keep my hands warm. I've built myself a sat-nav mount, and a mount from a remote from a Drift Ghost S camera. The TomTom Rider 400 clips on there, locks on so you can't take it off. I've altered the screen. This MRA touring screen was on it when I bought it, but I've put the little Puge wind deflector on it. The screen's adjustable on here. I've put a fender extender on here to keep all the shite off of the engine. What else have I done? The crash bungs were on there when I bought it, and it also had some in the bar ends, but obviously had to take them out to fit my hand guards. Quite a good looking bit of kit. Completely different to the NC 750X Honda. It's a lot more powerful, very, very, very torquey, heavier, but when you're moving it actually hides the weight very well, really well. It's actually, I think it's lighter handling. I rode the demo one of these. This is a 15 plate, by the way, and it only had 1,500 miles on it, and it was £3 cheaper than a new one, so it was a no-brainer really. I rode the demo one for probably an hour and a half, and I got off of it and got on that Honda NC 750X, and it was like I was having to wrestle with the steering on it. This just handles so light. I don't know how they hide the weight, because it's 238 kilos. So with all the bits and bobs I'm putting on it, you know, you're looking at 1/4 of a ton of bike, but it hides it, and it hides it really well. Also, it had a radiator guard on it when I bought it, so a few little bits and bobs, and like I say, for 1,500 miles it was £3 cheaper than buying a new one, so a no-brainer really. I think it's a good looking bit of kit. This is a facelift model. The previous model up to 2015 had a twin stacked headlight effort, one headlight above the other, and it looked a bit crappy, to be honest. It's an acquired taste. Some people love them, I didn't particularly like them, but I think this thing looks pretty tasty. I haven't got a headlight gone, by the way. That's how they are. When you put it on full beam, both light up. Very, very, very torquey. Whereas the NC750X had a really tall 6 gear, so you used to struggle in 6 gear if you was under sort of 60 miles an hour. But this thing just, well, it'll pull 30 mile an hour in top gear. It's incredible. You've got a lot more bells and whistles on this. You've got variable engine modes. At the moment I'm in full power, but you can drop that down to low power, which cuts, I don't know, cuts it in about 100 brake horse, I think. You've also got adjustable on here, which is all controlled by switches on here, or these switches here. You've also got variable levels of traction control intervention, and I believe you can turn it off. Not that you'd want to, I don't think, really. It doesn't cut in all the time, so I don't see why you would want to turn it off, but I'm running it on 2 all the time. It doesn't seem to cut in too often. With the roads as slippery as they are at the minute, I think, you know, it's worth having that little level of protection. Got a 12 volt socket on it for charging. I do miss the storage in the tank here on the Honda NC. The trunk at the front, as they call it, because now I've just got nowhere to put all my crap, keys, phone, wallet, etc. But I've got a Givi MT505 tank bag coming, so that's going to be really handy. Obviously then I can charge stuff because there's a cable port in the tank bag, so I can charge everything from the 12 volt socket then. The screen's adjustable. There's 2 knobs on the front, so you can raise and lower that. I've got it up high at the minute, and it seems pretty good for me, to be honest. The tank range, you can get 200 miles on a tank. I think my average miles per gallon at the moment, let's have a look on here, 51 to the gallon. So it's not terrible. Realistically, I think when the roads are dry and warm, I'll be getting 45, 50 to the gallon. I'm happy with that. On the NC it was a lot more, but whatever. A lot more fun to ride this, a lot more fun. Seat is really comfortable, really comfortable. Standard seat, let's keep moving. Standard seat. The NC one was like an instrument of torture, and I had a gel insert put in. But even with a gel insert, that still wasn't comfortable. The Versys doesn't come with a gear indicator. That's a Kawasaki, a genuine accessory. And in some ways, I don't think you need a gear indicator, because you can get this in 6 gear as quick as you can, and it'll just pull from nothing. It'll pull from 2000 RPM, it'll pull like a train in 6 gear, which is brilliant. But it is just nice to know, because I've had a lot of twin 2-cylinder, I've had flat twins, V twins, parallel twins, my last four bikes. It does seem as if the engine's very revvy and buzzy. It's not, it's just because I'm back on a 4-cylinder. And I'm not used to it now. And the downside of that is I'm always looking to change up into 7th or 8th gear, and it isn't there, so it's handy. But it just works weird. When you change down, it takes a little while just to catch up. If you go down 2 gears, it has to catch up. It's really weird. But what I do like about it, 6 gear, under 2000 RPM, look. 1900 RPM, 33 miles an hour, and it just pulls as clean as. Fantastic motor, really, really pleased. The way I'm finding to ride it is to get it into 6 gear as quick as you can and just ride on that big wave of torque. Fantastic. I think that's why I'm looking for more gears than 6 gear, because the engine pulls so strongly at low speed in 6, you just can't comprehend that it's in top gear. Like I say, I'm going to miss the NCX. This isn't as manoeuvrable in traffic because the centre of gravity was very, very low on the NC, and although this handles very lightly, it is a heavier bike. And like I say, I'm dearly missing this storage in the fake tank on the NC, but hopefully I'll forget about that and get over it once I get my tank back. The brakes are really strong. ABS it's not very intrusive, it doesn't kick in too readily, nor does the traction control. I've had the traction control just kick in a few times, but it doesn't cut the power, it just sort of looks after you. I can get a bus through there. Is it just me, or when you get behind a car driver dithering, do you lose the will to live? Because I do. You couldn't have done this on the NC. Under 30 miles an hour, 5th gear, and it just pulls so willingly. I'm not dissing the NCX, brilliant bike, absolutely fantastic. 13,000 miles in 15 months. It can't be bad. You know, it took me to Europe twice, it took me camping. Just a little bit lacking in power. And because I'm going to start riding a bit more with a pillion, I knew I'd be frustrated with that lack of power. Gearbox is very slick. Don't do it, don't do it. I believe the tyres are Bridgestone Battle Axe Touring. They've done 1800, 1900 miles now from new, and to be honest, they look as good as new. So it may not have been ridden very hard with the guy or the person, might be a girl, with the person who bought it new, but they do seem to be wearing really, really well. So hopefully it's not going to eat tyres. These roads look terribly greasy.